Are you holding on to something that's eating you alive? A relationship that ended badly, a mistake you can't forgive yourself for, a dream that didn't work out the way you planned? Do you find yourself replaying the same painful memories over and over, wishing you could change what happened, but feeling stuck in an endless cycle of hurt and regret? You're not alone, and you don't have to stay trapped in this prison of your own making. In this video, we'll uncover 7 powerful Buddhist teachings that will show you how to truly let go, not just temporarily forget, but actually release the grip that past pain has on your present happiness. These ancient principles offer profound wisdom that's more relevant today than ever, especially in a world where we're constantly reminded of what we've lost through social media and endless comparisons. If you're looking for real ways to heal from heartbreak, release old wounds, and finally move forward with your life, this is the video you need. Discover how to break free from the chains of attachment and find the peace that comes from true surrender. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell so you don't miss out on future content focused on healing inner peace and emotional freedom. Let's dive in and transform your relationship with letting go. Principle 1. Understand what you're really holding on to. Before you can let go of anything, you have to get brutally honest about what you're actually gripping so tightly. Most people think they're holding on to a person, a memory, or a situation, but that's not what's really happening. You're holding on to a story about how things should have been, a story about what that person meant to your worth, a story about what that experience says about your future, and that story is what's keeping you in pain. When your relationship ended, you didn't just lose a person, you lost the story of your future together. When you made that mistake, you didn't just mess up, you created a story about being a failure. When your dream died, you didn't just lose an opportunity, you lost the story of who you thought you were supposed to become. The Buddha taught that attachment to our mental formations causes suffering, but here's what he really meant. You're not attached to what happened. You're attached to what you think it means. So ask yourself right now, what story am I telling myself about this situation? What narrative have I created that's keeping me stuck? Write it down, get clear about the story, because once you see it for what it is, just a story, not reality, you can start to release it. Awareness is always the first step to freedom. Principle 2. Accept that holding on is a choice. Here's something that might shock you. Holding on isn't something that happens to you, it's something you do every single day. You wake up and choose to carry that pain, you choose to replay those memories, you choose to keep that wound open. This isn't about blame or shame, it's about power, because if holding on is a choice, then letting go is also a choice, and that means you have way more control than you think you do. The Buddha said, you yourself, as much as anybody in the entire universe, deserve your love and affection. But how can you love yourself while you're constantly punishing yourself with painful thoughts? How can you show yourself affection while you're replaying your worst moments on repeat, when that familiar wave of hurt crashes over you, when your mind starts spiraling back to what was or what should have been? Pause, take a breath, and remember, this is a choice point. You can choose to follow that thought down the rabbit hole of suffering, or you can choose something different. Say to yourself, right now, I'm choosing to hold on to pain, but I could choose something else. That small shift in awareness changes everything, because suddenly you're not a victim of your thoughts, you're the director of your experience. You've been giving your power away to memories, to people who aren't even in your life anymore, to situations that are already over. It's time to take that power back. Principle 3. Everything changes, even your pain. One of the most liberating truths in Buddhism is impermanence, the understanding that everything in existence is constantly changing. Nothing stays the same. Not your joy, not your pain, not your circumstances, and not your capacity to heal. Right now, your hurt feels permanent. It feels like this ache in your chest, this heaviness in your heart, this cloud over your life will never lift. But that's just a feeling, not a fact. You've felt differently before, and you'll feel differently again. The Buddha taught all conditioned things are impermanent. Strive on with diligence. Your pain is a conditioned thing. It arose from specific causes and conditions, and just like everything else in this universe, it will pass. It has to pass. That's how reality works. Think about nature. Seasons change, storms come and go. The night always gives way to morning. Even the mountains that seem so solid are constantly being reshaped by wind and water. If mountains can change, your pain can change too when you're overwhelmed by grief, by anger, by regret. Remind yourself this moment is temporary. This feeling will shift. Change is the only constant, and that includes this suffering. You're not trying to convince yourself that you feel better than you do. You're reminding yourself of the fundamental truth of existence. Everything passes. This doesn't minimize your pain, it contextualizes it. It reminds you that even though this hurts right now, it won't hurt like this forever. And in that reminder, you find the strength to keep going, keep breathing, keep healing. Principle 4. Let your thoughts flow like water. Have you ever tried to stop thinking about something by forcing it out of your mind? How did that work for you? Probably not very well. The harder you push against a thought, the stronger it becomes. The more you fight a memory, the more vivid it gets. There's a reason for this. Resistance creates persistence. When you try to dam up your thoughts, they just build pressure until they burst through with even more force. But water doesn't fight against obstacles, it flows around them, and your thoughts can learn to flow the same way. The Buddha compared the mind to a river. Thoughts, feelings, and memories are like leaves floating on the surface. You don't need to grab every leaf. You don't need to examine each one or judge whether it should be there. You just watch them drift by. When thoughts about what you've lost arise, don't fight them. Don't judge yourself for having them. Don't try to push them away or analyze why they're still there. Just observe them with gentle curiosity, like watching clouds move across the sky. Say to yourself, there's a thought about the past, there's a feeling of sadness, there's a memory trying to pull me in, label what's happening without getting pulled into the story. This creates space between you and your thoughts, and in that space you find freedom. Remember, you are not your thoughts. You are the awareness that observes your thoughts, and awareness is always free, always at peace, always whole, no matter what thoughts are flowing through it. Principle 5. Stop fighting reality. The deepest suffering comes not from what happened, but from your resistance to what happened. You keep fighting a battle that's already over. You keep trying to change a past that's already written. You keep arguing with reality, and reality always wins. The Buddha taught that the root of suffering is our attachment to how we think things should be, rather than accepting how things actually are. You wanted that relationship to work out. You wanted to make different choices. You wanted life to be fair, but wanting reality to be different from what it is creates endless suffering. This doesn't mean you have to like what happened. It doesn't mean you have to be grateful for your pain. It means you stop wasting your precious energy fighting against facts. What happened happened. What's done is done. What was lost is gone. But here's what's not gone: your ability to choose what comes next. Your power to create meaning from your experience. Your capacity to grow from what you've been through when you stop fighting. What was you free up all that energy to build? What could be? There's a powerful Zen story about two monks who came to a river where a young woman was waiting to cross. The older monk carried her across, then set her down and continued on his journey. Hours later, the younger monk was still troubled. "How could you touch that woman? It's against our vows," the older monk replied. "I put her down at the river." "Why are you still carrying her? You've been carrying people, situations, and experiences that ended long ago. It's time to put them down, not because they didn't matter, but because carrying them is keeping you from moving forward." Principle 6. Practice the art of surrender. Letting go isn't something you do once, it's something you practice again and again, moment by moment, choice by choice, and the heart of letting go is surrender, not giving up, but giving in to what is so. You can respond from wisdom instead of reacting from pain. Surrender doesn't mean becoming passive, it means becoming powerful in a different way. Instead of trying to control what you can't control, you focus your energy on what you can control, your thoughts, your choices, your responses, your growth. The Buddha spoke of the middle way, the path between extreme indulgence and extreme deprivation in letting go. This means finding the balance between caring and clinging. You can love someone and still release them. You can value an experience and still move on from it. You can honor your past and still create your future. When you feel that familiar grip of attachment tightening around your heart, breathe into it, soften around it. Say to yourself, I release this with love. I let this go with gratitude for what it taught me. I surrender this to make space for what's meant for me. Now, this isn't about pretending you don't care. It's about caring so deeply that you're willing to love something enough to set it free, including parts of yourself that are ready to evolve. True surrender is an act of self-love. You're choosing your peace over your pain. You're choosing your growth over your grievances. You're choosing your present over your past. Principle 7. Fill the space with something better. Here's what nobody tells you about letting go. Nature abhors a vacuum. When you release something, you create space, and that space needs to be filled, or old patterns will rush back in to fill it for you. This is why letting go isn't just about releasing what you don't want. It's about consciously choosing what you do want to take its place. It's about intentionally filling that newly created space with love, with growth, with experiences that align with who you're becoming. The Buddha taught that we become what we think about most. So what do you want to become? What qualities do you want to cultivate? What kind of life do you want to create? Start thinking about those things. Start filling your mind with visions of your healed, whole, evolved self instead of replaying old conversations. Practice new ones, conversations with people who support your growth instead of dwelling on past mistakes. Focus on future wisdom, the lessons you've learned and how they're shaping better choices instead of mourning what you've lost. Celebrate what you've gained: strength, resilience, clarity about what you truly want. This isn't toxic positivity. This isn't denying your pain. This is strategic healing. You're rewiring your brain to default to growth instead of grief, to possibility instead of pain, to love instead of loss. When you feel empty after letting something go, remember, empty isn't bad. Empty is potential. Empty is space for miracles. Empty is the beginning of everything beautiful that's about to unfold in your life. Before you check your phone, before you let the world rush in with its demands and distractions, take 5 minutes to set your intention for the day. Sit quietly and ask yourself, what am I ready to release today? What old thought, what painful memory, what limiting belief am I willing to let go of right now? It might be something big, forgiveness for someone who hurt you, or it might be something small. The frustration from yesterday's traffic jam size doesn't matter. What matters is the practice of conscious release. Take a deep breath in, and as you exhale, imagine breathing out. Whatever you're ready to let go of, see it leaving your body like smoke dissolving into the air. Say to yourself, I release this with love. I make space for something better. This daily practice trains your mind to default to letting go instead of holding on. Over time, release becomes as natural as breathing. You stop accumulating emotional baggage because you're constantly clearing it out. Your mind will try to pull you back into old patterns. That's normal. That's what untrained minds do. But now you have tools. When you notice yourself gripping onto a painful thought, when you feel that familiar tightness in your chest, when your mind starts replaying old scenes, practice, catch and release. Catch the thought without judgment. There, I go again, thinking about what she said. Release it with compassion. It's okay that this came up. I'm still learning. I choose to let this go. Now, don't fight with your mind. Don't get angry at yourself for having these thoughts. Just notice them, acknowledge them, and gently redirect your attention to something that serves your healing, your breath, your feet on the ground, the sound of life happening around you. Remember, you're not trying to never think these thoughts again. You're practicing not getting hooked by them when they arise. There's a big difference between a thought passing through your mind and a thought taking over your mind. Before you go to sleep, take a moment to appreciate yourself for the letting go you did today. Maybe you didn't react to that triggering text. Maybe you chose not to stalk your ex on social media. Maybe you caught yourself in a spiral of regret and redirected your thoughts to something more helpful. These might seem like small wins, but they're actually huge victories. Every time you choose release over resistance, you're rewiring your brain for freedom. Every time you choose peace over pain, you're building your capacity for happiness. Say to yourself, today I practiced letting go. Today I chose my growth over my grievances. Today, I made space for something better. I'm proud of myself for this healing work. Feel the truth of those words in your body. Let them sink into your heart. This isn't about being perfect. This is about appreciating progress, and progress in letting go isn't always linear. Some days you'll feel free and light. Other days you'll feel heavy again. That's all part of the process. Trust the journey. Sometimes you can't let go because you haven't fully grieved what you're losing. Letting go means accepting that something is over, that someone is gone, that a chapter of your life has ended, and that's genuinely sad. It's okay to be sad about it. The Buddha didn't teach that we should never feel pain. He taught that we don't have to add suffering to our pain. Pain is what happens when we lose something we love. Suffering is what happens when we resist that pain, when we refuse to feel it, when we tell ourselves we should be over it by now. Let yourself grieve. Cry if you need to cry. Feel angry if you need to feel angry. Be confused if you need to be confused. These emotions aren't obstacles to letting go. They're part of the process. When you allow yourself to feel fully, the feelings naturally move through you instead of getting stuck in you. There's a difference between wallowing and processing. Wallowing is getting stuck in the story of your pain. Processing is allowing the energy of your emotions to move through your system. Honor your feelings, but don't make them your identity. Sometimes we hold on because we're afraid that letting go means forgetting, and forgetting feels like betrayal. If you stop thinking about them, does that mean they didn't matter? If you stop hurting about what happened, does that mean it wasn't important? No, letting go doesn't mean forgetting, it means remembering. Without pain, it means honoring what was without being trapped by what was. You can love someone and still release your attachment to them. You can value an experience and still move beyond it. The Buddha taught about the difference between love and attachment. Love wants the best for someone, even if that means they're not in your life. Attachment wants to possess, to control, to keep things exactly as they were. Love is freeing, attachment is binding. When you truly let go, you don't lose the love, you lose the pain, you don't lose the lessons, you lose the limits. Those lessons were placing on your future. You don't lose the meaning, you lose the suffering. Imagine yourself 6 months from now, having practiced these principles consistently. You wake up in the morning and your first thought isn't about what you've lost, it's about what you're grateful for. Someone mentions that person's name and you feel nothing, not hatred, not longing, just peaceful neutrality. You see a couple being happy together, and instead of feeling bitter about your own heartbreak, you feel genuinely happy for their joy. You make a mistake at work, and instead of spiraling into self-hatred, you simply learn from it and move on. You have space in your mind for new dreams because you're not using all your mental energy reliving old nightmares. This isn't fantasy. This is what happens when you consistently practice letting go. You don't become cold or detached. You become free, free to love again without fear, free to try again without being paralyzed by past failures, free to be fully present in your life instead of living in your memories. People around you will notice the change. They'll see a lightness in you that wasn't there before. They'll feel drawn to your peace. They'll ask, "What's different about you?" And you'll realize you stopped carrying weight that was never yours to carry in the first place. But here's the most beautiful part: when you learn to let go, you give everyone around you permission to do the same. Your peace becomes contagious, your freedom becomes inspiring, your healing becomes a gift to everyone who witnesses it. You become living proof that it's possible to go through heartbreak and come out stronger, that it's possible to make mistakes and still be worthy of love, that it's possible to lose everything you thought you wanted and discover something even better. You stop being someone who needs to be saved and become someone who helps others save themselves, not through advice or preaching, but through example, through showing what it looks like to transform pain into wisdom, loss into growth, endings into new beginnings. Your relationships improve because you're no longer bringing old wounds into new connections. Your work improves because you're not distracted by mental chatter about the past. Your whole life improves because you're finally fully present in it. Right now, in this moment, you have a choice. You can continue carrying the weight of what was living in the prison, of what should have been suffering, in the story of what you've lost. You can keep that grip tight, keep that pain close, keep that wound open. Or you can choose something different. You can choose to trust that letting go doesn't mean giving up on love. It means making space for better love. You can choose to believe that releasing the past doesn't mean losing yourself. It means finding yourself. You can choose to see that endings aren't failures, they're commencements. The Buddha spent his entire life teaching one fundamental truth. Suffering is optional, pain happens, but suffering is what we add to pain through our resistance, our attachment, our refusal to accept what is. You have the power to stop adding that second layer of suffering to your life. You are stronger than your circumstances. You are bigger than your heartbreak. You are more resilient than you know and more capable of joy than you've dared to imagine. The happiness you're seeking isn't hiding in the past or waiting in the future. It's available right now, in this moment, in this choice, to release what no longer serves you. The river of your life is trying to flow towards something beautiful, but you've built dams of attachment walls, of resistance barriers, of what if and if only. It's time to tear down those barriers. It's time to let the river flow. Your freedom is calling. Your peace is waiting. Your new life is ready to begin. All you have to do is let go. Together, we've explored 7 powerful Buddhist principles for letting go. Now you have the tools to release what's holding you back and step into the freedom that's your birthright. Letting go isn't about becoming heartless. It's about having so much heart that you refuse to let past pain steal your present joy. It's not about forgetting what mattered. It's about remembering. Without suffering, these ancient teachings aren't just philosophy. They're practical steps you can take today to start healing, to start growing, to start living again. If this video helped you see letting go in a new way, hit that like button and share it with someone who needs to hear this message. Subscribe for more life-changing Buddhist wisdom and ring that notification bell so you don't miss future videos on healing, growth, and inner peace. Take a moment right now, breathe deeply, feel your feet on the ground, and remember, you have everything you need inside you to let go of whatever is ready to be released. Your peaceful heart is waiting. Your free life is calling. See you in the next video.